All right, we'll just get started. And I'm sure more people will trickle in. Welcome, everybody. My name is Gianza Valerio. I am a senior at Boston College. I study operations management in the Carroll School of Management, and then I minor in medical humanities, health, and culture. And I also manage a student admission program. So me, along with some of my friends here, we're going to be doing 3 of these AHANA outreach panels. So I'm really excited to just be able to share our AHANA experiences with you. It breaks my heart that we weren't able to do this in person. We put in a lot of work up front to be able to welcome you here on our campus, pair you up with a host. Typically how the AHANA, Keith Francis AHANA Weekend program works is that you're over for 2 nights, 3 days. For me, it was a really big piece in my college decision-making process and why I chose BC. It really gave me that chance to be able to sit in on classes, stay the night, see the dorms, interact with professors, interact with current students. So it really breaks my heart. We're going to do our best to give you the kinds of experiences as much as we can through this. And the reason why I bring it up that weekend and why it was so important was because for me, at least in my college experience, BC was the only school that sent me a program like that, the opportunity for AHANA students, AHANA being African American, Hispanic, Asian American, Native American students to get together and be able to talk about issues that are, very unique to minority students. And so that really played a really big piece. It really taught me a lot about the kinds of values that BC has. But of course, no school is perfect at the same time. So there's loads of ways for us to really get into it. So how this is going to work is we have some really awesome panelists here, and they're student leaders. They're involved in so many great things. And what we're going to do is we're going to go around the room. I asked that to keep things organized, we're going to go alphabetically by first name. So we're going to start with Jaime, followed by Latifah, Tiff, and Winnie. And I'm going to ask the group to just introduce themselves to the group, share their name, their hometown, their studies, their school, and why they chose BC. After that, we have questions from the group, and I'm continuing to see some of the questions that you guys continue to add in. So we'll be mindful of that as we continue going along, and it'll be much more popcorn from there just to make it more of a discussion. So Jaime, do you mind kicking it off?
Yeah, absolutely. So first off, welcome guys, all of you from wherever you are joining us. We're happy to have you here. And as Gian mentioned, my name is Jaime Martinez. I am a senior at Boston College studying political science in the School of Arts and Sciences with 2 minors in philosophy and Latin American studies. And I am from Brownsville, Texas. Um, the reason why I chose BC, and I'm sure most of these will overlap with Winnie, Tiff's, and Latifah's as well, but I think as a political science major, I was looking to be challenged. I was looking for a place to have conversations, and I was looking for diversity of thought. And that is something that you find at BC. We have conservatives, liberals, people that are libertarians, Green Party, you name it. There's a lot of diversity of thought when it comes to politics, when it comes to religion, and everything else. And I had the opportunity to go to the Keith Francis AHANA Weekend 4 years ago for me. And as soon as I stepped on campus and I had the opportunity to go to the dining halls, show up to some of the classes, you could sense those types of conversations and intellect that is out there. And I knew that it was the place for me.
Hi, my name is Latifah. I'm a sophomore. I'm from Providence, Rhode Island. I'm a double major in sociology and our new African and African diaspora studies major. And I chose BC for 2 reasons. So one, I was chosen to be a part of the OTE program. So OTE stands for Options Through Education, and it's basically a program where administration and the BAIC, which is kind of an office for students of color, chooses about 40 to 60 students to stay in the summer and take 2 courses. And it kind of allows them that smoother transition into BC in the fall because you already get to have a community. So I chose BC due to that program because it also helped me financially. And also the second reason was because of AHANA Weekend. So with my whole college application process, I came from a diverse high school, so I was very afraid to go to a school that was very, I knew BC was predominantly white, but I didn't want to go to a school where I didn't feel safe or I didn't have a community. But going to AHANA Weekend, there was just so much community in the air with within all of the AHANA students that were there. And even though when you come to campus, it definitely doesn't look like that weekend, the community still remains throughout your 4 years there. So the people seeing the people at AHANA Weekend is another reason why I chose to come to BC, and I'm really happy with my decision.
Hi, everyone. My name is Tiff. I'm from Bristol, Rhode Island. I am a psychology Bachelor of Science major, and I have a double minor in theater and marketing, although I was on the pre-med track up until this year. But then I dropped that. So I think I chose BC for two reasons. One of them being location. I'm from Rhode Island, so I want to be close enough to get home, but I also didn't want to be too close to home. So an hour and 15 was a nice happy medium for both me and my mom because she wanted me to be really close to home. But I also definitely chose BC because of my experience at AHANA Weekend. Similarly to what has already been said, that I was able to sense such a great atmosphere of community here through that weekend. And that was something that was really special to me. And visiting other schools, that's not something I always got. And then also during my experience at AHANA Weekend, which was actually 3 years ago to this day, I realized that the people here at BC were passionate about what they were doing. And I know that I thrive in a place where those around me are passionate because it inspires me to do the same. And not only that, but BC really gives students opportunities to make sure that they are able to grow as whole people and that they'll be able to go out and change the world. And every student here was really committed to taking advantage of every single opportunity that they were given. And that was something that was so apparent in the environment here. So ultimately, that is why I chose BC.
Hi everyone, my name is Winnie Chan. I'm a junior in the Morrissey School of Arts and Sciences. I'm studying biology with a minor also in medical humanities and a minor in faith, peace, and justice. I'm from Connecticut, and BC was also like the perfect location. It was like 2.5 hours, so like close enough that I don't have to go home all the time, but like far enough that I don't have to go home all the time, but like close enough that I could if I wanted to. And like everyone has previously said, AHANA Weekend was, once I went to AHANA Weekend, like I couldn't imagine myself going to any other school other than BC. Like one of the girls I had met there is still like one of my closest friends to this day. At AHANA Weekend, I also learned about the Gateway program for people that are in the sciences. It's for first generation students. For the first 2 years, you take like, you get very close to your professors. You have different relationships with the advisors. So like your freshman year, you come in, you take a chemistry class. Your general chemistry class is with all first-gen students in that program or minority students. And then you have like separate discussion sessions for your biology classes. And I just remember one of the advisors like during that weekend had said to us that like he teaches not for students to memorize, but like to really teach students how to think. And that had stuck with me. And I knew that I wanted to be his student when I came to college. So he was actually a very influential person when it came to making my decision, because I wanted to go to a school that really wanted to invest in its students, not just get them through 4 years of education.
Awesome. Thanks, guys, for kicking it off with a strong start. So Winnie and Latifah, you especially talked about the support systems between options through education and with the Gateway program for first-gen students. But I'd love to hear some other kinds of support systems that are in place for AHANA students. What resources are available on campus to support minority, first-gen, and low-income students? Does anybody want to start?
I can take that. I think a big concern, at least for my family, was economic financial support when going to Boston College. And we have this incredible office, the Montserrat office, headed by Miss Smiley. Her name is Yvonne, but she likes to call me Smiley. And that is an office, that's a space where you can just go and ask for any sort of like financial support. If you're going abroad and need help with that, you can ask. If you need help renting or buying textbooks, you can do that. The purpose of this office is for us to not miss out on opportunities that otherwise would not be possible. If you hear that a lot of students, we have a club that is in charge of setting up these events for us, and sometimes they do like ice skating downtown, and the tickets cost 20, 25 bucks. If you really want to go, but those 20, 25 bucks is not something you have available, go to the office, you talk to them, they give you a free ticket. They purchase our ticket for all the football games and the hockey games and all the sporting events, so you don't miss out on these opportunities. So I think that's an incredible office that we've had. I definitely took advantage of it these 4 years. I'm sure Tiff, Latifah, and Winnie did too. And that is open to all of the students. And it's just great help. I don't know if you guys have had similar experiences with that and you would like to share that.
Yeah, I'm also a member of Montserrat, and I can easily say that I wouldn't have been able to get through college if it hasn't been for the support system that Montserrat has given me. Coming to college, I didn't realize how many like hidden fees there would be. For example, like paying for the football games or participating in events that all of my friends are participating in. And so Montserrat definitely helps alleviate that worry for not only myself, but for my mom too, because even with my on-campus job and stuff, I can't like ask my mom for money every week to do those types of things. So I can definitely second the sentiment that I'm really grateful for what Montserrat does, and it really does help. Also for students of color on campus, we have the Thea Bowman AHANA Intercultural Center, which acts as a space for students of color to gather, and there's counselors there for support, but also they do programming as well. Like if it's, they'll do like some cultural programming, or they'll also do like some support programming. So for example, there's summer tuition remission, which I was able to receive last year, and I'm in the process of applying this year, which is where you can apply to get your tuition for summer classes if you needed to take them to fill out like a deficiency, or sometimes even for enrichment. They will pay for you to take the class, and also if you needed housing, they also have the opportunity for them to pay for housing as well. So it's great for students who, you know, like going home isn't a really safe place for them or a good environment for them, and they need to stay over their summer, but it also allows them to take more classes, or to also like hold the job in Boston or something like that, which is really great for internships. So definitely a lot of support that way as well.
Yeah, and also to add on to the BAIC that Tiffany was talking about, it really is a safe space where you can just come in and really like kiki and just talk to everybody. Like a lot of people just go in there to hang out if they have a gap in between their classes. And there's also a lot of good staff within the building where you can really just talk to them, and they could give you advice on anything, on whatsoever, and they can help you with whatever you really need. And each staff within that office is actually an advisor to every student within the AHANA community, and they do it by alphabetically. So you will most likely get an advisor from that office. There's also this other thing called Compass, which is a mentorship program given to first year AHANA students, where you're given a mentor when you come in. If you decide to apply for that program, you actually get to go on a retreat, and they have different programming that you can join in on. So that is another support system for AHANA students. There's also the LTL office, Learning to Learn. They have some programming. The Women's Center is also a great program for the women on campus, and they do a lot of stuff. Just recently, they created the Black Women's Retreat last year, which was the first time that has ever happened. And it was my first time going on, and it was truly an amazing experience. And another support system I would say are the professors in the African Diaspora Studies department, so the AADS department. They truly are great mentors. And some of the professors within that department are my mentors who have helped me with a lot of things, whether it be recommendation letters or helping me with my career aspirations. So I'll say there's a lot of support systems at BC for you.
And just adding a little bit onto LTL, or Learning to Learn, that's mostly for first generation students. It's very similar to the vibes that you get from BAIC, where you can just go in, like hang out. There's always counselors, always like faculty there, and students hanging out. And you can go in and ask for help if you have questions about like your classworks. I know they also hold a applications of learning theory course that you can help to like just focus and hone on in your like studying techniques. But in general, they're a really great resource as well for students.
Awesome. Thank you all so much for sharing all that. Loads of information already. So a lot of you guys mentioned that, you know, there are spaces on campus that you could really just hang out, get to know the professors. So this next question is, are there AHANA mentors that can help new AHANA students? Can you guys get into mentorship at BC?
Yeah, I could get into that. So already I was speaking a bit about that with the Compass mentorship program. So basically upperclassmen being juniors and seniors, within the Compass program, they each get like a group of incoming freshman students, where if you apply for, and usually everybody who applies gets in, but they basically meet with them weekly. And I did that my first year, and I can say like I'm so happy I did that, because my mentor, who was a junior at the time, has become my mentor for life. where he's helped me truly with everything and anything that I've needed. So he's kind of like helped me stay grounded within BC. And through that program, I've been able to meet some of my closest friends. But I would say something that's really amazing about BC is that a lot of AHANA upperclassmen truly want to take care and help underclassmen and really just pave the way for them. And I say that genuinely, like, I'm not saying that just to say it, like, they truly want to help you. So there's really, every upperclassman, I would say, is a mentor. You just have to be able to find that connection with somebody and they'll genuinely help you along the way.
I agree with that. I think the thing that shocked me the most freshman year was just like that whole aspect of like giving back. I think because like the juniors and seniors have received so much during their underclassmen years, they feel the need to like also do the same for the incoming freshmen. So a lot of the culture clubs across BC's campus, they have freshman representatives. So there's the applications at the beginning of the year. They choose typically 4 or 5 like freshmen to like bring onto their board. Those freshmen get really involved in the community AHANA community at BC. But even if you're not a freshman representative, like there are still many upperclassmen that will reach out to you. Like I remember during the first week of freshman year, on that Friday, there is a student involvement fair. So you walk around and put your name down to as many clubs as you see fit. And I just remember that night, like someone from one of the culture clubs had already reached out and was like, I want to get to know you, like come hang out tonight. So it's just like that whole vibe of like really wanting to help the freshmen just as they were helped their freshman year.
I'll just quickly add, I mean, we do have all those official resources that we've talked about, but you can also find mentors in faculty, in professors that, although they're not as an official role, a mentor, they are professors, you can find mentorship in them. I've had, within my minor in Latin American Studies, there's a professor that is also from Mexico City, where I was born and raised, and we just started talking. I ended up taking one of his classes, and after that he would beg me to check in with him at least once a week. So I'd always go to his office hours and just talk about life, classes, transition, graduation. If I went to Mexico City for a break or something, I would bring back some like Mexican candy. We go back, eat it together, and just talk about things. And it's just incredible that if it's, whether it's roommates, professors, faculty, you can find a mentor in anyone. And when you most need them, they're right there for you. And that's incredible.
Yeah, I can 100% second all of this. I was also a part of the Compass program my freshman year, and I loved it so much. And also, like as a non-formal advisor, someone who was a senior at the time I came in as a freshman, her name was Samuela. She was also one of the other only actors of color in the theater department, and she was extremely helpful for me during my freshman year. And even still now, like she lives in Los Angeles now, I'm still in Boston, but we still talk all the time, and she gives me advice and she shares how she's doing and I share how I'm doing. So you are really able to form a lot of great relationships here at BC.
Great. I want to address this question that came through in the chat. How does BC ensure the AHANA community also integrates themselves within the rest of the BC population / community? Anybody want to start? Take your time.
I think I can name a few ways. Both of them are through the AHANA Leadership Council, which is a division of UGBC, in which they do policy, programming, and advocacy for the AHANA students on campus. I was the vice president of UGBC this past year, so I was able to work really closely with the division, and they do so much work on this campus to make it to keep promoting an inclusive environment and keep promoting really good dialogue on campus. So some of the things that they do, one of them is AHANA ALC Showdown, which is when it's meant as a time to celebrate the different dance organizations. Some of them are sponsored by a cultural club or an organization. So they bring this together, basically the whole campus. They have it in Conti Forum, which is where they'll play basketball, hockey, you know, like all the sports. And it will fill it up like almost all the way. So there's thousands of students there supporting the Ohana community and giving us time to celebrate who we are. And on the same token, they do things like AHANA acronym week, which is where there's programming for the whole campus to promote dialogue surrounding diversity. And also there'll be ALC Ball, which is meant for everybody can attend, but that is definitely an event that is meant to celebrate the Ohana community. So we get to get dressed up and go to one of the really fancy hotels in Boston, just have a night to celebrate who we are and celebrating our identity.
Yeah, I can kind of add on to that too. So I work at the first year experience office, where it's basically an office that deals with like freshman orientation, retreats, and one of the biggest retreats that they have at the office is the 48 hours retreat. And the BAIC and that office have been working together to kind of close that dividend and make it more where AHANA students and white students are being able to interact with one another. And this year was the first year that they actually launched like a compass and 48 hours fuse, I'll say. And I was on that retreat as a council member. So I'll say through those efforts, there's been a lot of, through those type of efforts, there's been that type of engagement allowing to occur. And also with like OLs, like orientation leaders, like when you become, I think it's like juniors, like I feel like the office does a good job of going into every office, whether it be the BAIC, the LTL office, the Mantra office, to pub their resources and like applications for AHANA students and all students. So then there's diversity within that pool as well.
Great. So I want to bring up the next question, and a couple other questions touch this one. So I think it's important for us to tackle it. Have there been any incidents that AHANA students had to face during their time here?
I can take that one. In my time here, I believe there have been two. I would say the one that there was one that was pretty bad a few years. It was now last year when essentially there were racial slurs written on the wall in one of the dorms on campus. And then they also like broke into another dorm and like set the fire alarms off and something like that. So there have definitely been instances that we've had to deal with, and I'm not going to lie, it was really hard for me, and I think it will always be hard. I don't think that will ever change. But something I saw in that really like dark time was the way that the community was able to come together. There were so many things that happened in the following day. I had professors reaching out to me. I had friends inviting me to get off campus with them or something like that. But also the community did a town hall, which is where we were able to speak with the administration. And it was in Robsham, which is our theater, and the whole theater was filled. And then there was even an overflow room. So that was a time for all students, but especially a space for students of color to kind of voice their concerns and for us to hear what the administrators have to say and what they're going to be doing to prevent it. And that was something that definitely gave me hope. But I can say that it was really hard because, like, I don't know, like for those few days especially, I didn't really feel safe in a place that was supposed to be my home. So that was something that was really tough for me, but it did show me the community that is on BC's campus.
Yeah, I just want to add one more thing to Tiff's point. The issues or attacks may have been strong, but the response was even stronger and more powerful. In my experience, you had, again, we held town halls. Professors would have like 5-10 minute little talks before, after class, offering support, roommates. I think the way we come back from these issues is what defines the Boston College community in the end. And as Tiff mentioned, they were stronger and more powerful than the issues themselves. So it was great to see that there was some sort of like response from the student body and the administration whenever this happens, which could happen anywhere.
Yeah, just to add on, because I am a sophomore, so last year was my first time experiencing the hate crime that occurred on campus. But I'm not going to lie, like I was already expecting it just because like I already know the type of world we live in, like the country we live in, you really are going to expect that, sadly. And I've already been doing the work as a student activist in high school to really be prepared for these things. So I already expected that was going to happen. But like everybody has said, that there was such a strong community that allowed all of us to heal together. And my freshman year, I took this class called Black Lives Matter Meets Me Too, and it's actually going to be offered again for the incoming class of 2024. So I'll say definitely take it with Professor John Charles and Professor McGuffey. But when that hate crime happened during that semester, both of those professors basically just like, instead of having a normal class that day, they were like, you know what, we're gonna have like a safe circle right now. How is everybody feeling? Everybody just tell me how you are feeling. And just through that therapeutic session, like we were all able to just express our feelings and just feel safe in that very moment. So even with faculty, they were able to allow us to feel safe. I remember that there were upperclassmen holding safe circles in their mods, so like their dorms during those times. So I'll say like, yes, these things do happen, and it's going to happen at every predominantly white institution, prestigious institution. But the community at BC is very strong to counter like all of that. So I'll say I felt very safe after it due to the mentors and the AHANA community.
Also to add on to that, the first incident that had happened was during my freshman year, first semester. And although it did make me feel unsafe about the community that I was around, it again, like also made me feel super connected to BC students. Like I think, correct me if I was wrong, there was like a candlelight celebration, not celebration, but gathering outside of O'Neill Plaza, I think the day that it happened or the day that it was announced. And then the following day, which was a really quick turnover, there was a walkout, and a lot of BC students gathered outside of Mackler Dining Hall, and we had walked through and past Gasson Hall and down the streets. Professors were very supportive when students decide to walk out of class and join the walkout. Professors were very, very supportive of that, and just seeing the pictures and joining in that space where everyone was like holding up signs made me feel very supported and happy that there were people. Yes, the hate crime happened, but this is not reflective of everyone that is here, and a lot of people at this school condone it, and that made me feel more protected and supported.
Great, thanks guys. I know that was a bit more of a difficult conversation, and I know it could get a little bit emotional thinking about those events. So maybe let's just do a little bit of both here. So what's your favorite thing about BC, and what's your least favorite thing about BC? That's one of the questions we have here.
I'll do both. I can get started. I think when they asked me one of the things I like the least about Boston College, it's both a good thing and a bad thing. It's our dining. We actually pride ourselves in being one of the very few institutions that cooks everything on campus. So when you go to BC and you show up to any dining hall, anything that we serve is made on campus. We have chefs get there at like 3, 4 in the morning so that the pastries can be ready by 7 in the morning when we start to wake up. And because of that, sometimes, you know, you had a long day, you just took an exam, you finished your paper, and you might have to wait 15, 20, 25 minutes in line to get your dinner, even though you're tired. So that sometimes it's not ideal. But then again, when you think that everything that's being served, the salad bar, everything, it's made on campus, I think it's a pretty good trade-off. One of the things I like the most, and again, you know, like they say, you don't realize what you have until you lose it. I haven't lost my friendship or anything from Boston College, but now that we're back at home and we don't get to like finish strong these last couple of months, I just miss the energy and the community that I was in. You know, you walk back into your room, you're hanging out with your 5, 6 roommates, you're talking, you go out, there's grills for seniors, and you miss that. You miss waking up, playing Wii in between classes, go take your exam, come back, make dinner with your roommates, sit down, eat dinner. And again, I think the energy that there is when there's football games, the community that we have, it's very special. The longer you are at Boston College, the more it grows on you. And I definitely miss that, and I love that.
I can follow that. I'll also start with my least favorite thing, which is everyone's not lying when they say that college is really hard. And I think especially at BC, when everyone is so incredibly intelligent and so motivated to do so many things, you might feel the pressure that you're not doing enough, or that you can't keep up with others. So I think the pressure and the difficulties of classes is real, and especially coming in as a freshman where you were like the top of your class, you always got stellar grades. It is a bit of a transition, and it is going to be challenging, but it does get better, especially talking out with like friends and family, and also reaching out to like office hours and professors. So it does get better, but it's no joke. Freshman year is hard, and like the difficulty of BC is real. But I think I also agree with like the spirit of like the students here is like the best part. I just remember when I was making my decision to come to BC, like one of the big factors was that like my class had a huge group me, and it's okay if like your class, the 2024 class, is not like as connected right now, especially given like everything that's going on. But like I just knew that these were the people that I wanted to surround myself with for 4 years. Like everyone was so excited to be here, everyone was so goofy, like there was just so many different personality types, and I think that was really reflective when I came here. Like everyone has so many different interests, it's so diverse in terms of like thought, and everyone's just, it's just, I just love being around the people that are here, and I think that it was a big reason why I decided to come here and why I decided to stick around.
Similarly to what Winnie just said, I think my least favorite part about it, coming into BC, I felt freshman year like this really strong ideal of the BC perfect, which is where like, you know, you're supposed to be like doing incredible in classes, you're supposed to be super involved, you're supposed to like always be doing something. And like that was like, and I also just coming to college had an idea of how college was supposed to happen, and like my own ideals combined with like that type of vibe I was getting made it really hard for me freshman year, because I just felt like I wasn't good enough. And especially because I was really struggling in classes, and I was able to get involved through theater, but I just didn't really feel like I had a close group of friends or anything like that yet. So that was definitely something that was really hard, but I was definitely able to overcome that with like help from the Connor Family Learning Center, which is like free tutoring that they give, which I definitely took advantage of freshman year. I used it for basically all of my classes. I also found really great friends. It's okay. You may feel that like you don't necessarily have, like if you don't have your best friends picked out by end of first week freshman year, like I promise you, you will be okay. That's usually not how it works. But definitely I would recommend trying at least like one new thing or one club or something like that. And once I kind of found my footing after that first semester freshman year, it definitely made BC more enjoyable for me. And then I think the best part about it would definitely be the people. I just feel that like the friendships that I've made here, like I still treasure the ones that I had in high school, and they're very important to me, but I don't know if it's because of the people that BC tends to attract or what, but there's something that's so special about the connections that I formed here. Not only are we able to just like have fun, but we're also able to have really good and meaningful conversations. And I think that makes the relationships here so much stronger than what I've had experienced before. So that's definitely got to be one of my favorite parts besides theater.
I just want to add one quick thing to what Winnie said about the rigor in terms of academics. You all have been accepted to Boston College because we know that you can succeed in this place. And again, it will be tough. There's challenges. You are not going to get all A's. You are going to fail a quiz, an exam, whatever it is. But you have been accepted because we know that you can succeed. And on top of that, we have resources. If you struggle with papers, you will get better at writing papers. You will get better at public speaking. You will get better at whatever skills you are not fully proficient in, to put it that way. So there are resources. You're there for a reason, and you will succeed in the end. You will. I mean, looking at myself, 4-year period, it's remarkable. I brought some of my papers back home with me. I was reading some of the papers I wrote freshman year, and wow. But hey, I'm about to graduate, and the same would happen with everyone. Just take advantage of the resources and know that you're there for a reason. I just wanted to add that real quick.
To add on to what was previously said by both Winnie and Tiff about my least favorite thing about BC, I definitely feel like there's like just this fast-paced culture where you feel like you have to do like everything and go above and beyond. So back in high school, like, not to gas myself up, but like I was really running the high school, I'm not gonna lie. So coming to BC, I was like, you know, I'm gonna do the same thing. I'm gonna be running BC. I'm gonna do this, that. Like I joined SAP AHANA Outreach. I joined PATU, the African dance team. I joined Bowman Advocate sophomore year. I was just joining so many things. And then I realized that I was getting burnt out and that busyness does not mean it's productive. So I felt like I was allowing like that fast-paced culture to get to me, where I felt like doing a lot of things equaled me elevating my status in a sense, when really that's not what it is. Like, you should just join things that you feel like are going to fulfill you and that you love, and then through you finding passion in what you do, you then will be able to succeed. So that's something that I learned through that. My favorite thing about BC, of course, is the people and the energy within our community, which was already said. But I'll also say the resources. BC has so many resources. Like, it's actually crazy because like in my sophomore year, I'm still like all of these resources are now being unlocked, and like I'm shocked. So like with me, I've now understood that I have a passion for research. So there's just so many research grants, and like there's this Amanda V. Houston award that the AADS department has, where you can apply and probably travel to like another country to do research, and they will pay for you. So like there's just so many like grants and like scholarships that you could apply to. So I'll say that's something that I really love.
Great. Now, Tiff, I want to go back to something that you said regarding like socially, the friend groups that you make. This question relates to that. It was, I've heard that social circles tend to be ethnically homogenous. Do you guys agree with that? And if so, they ask, can you recommend any ways to break out of the bubble?
Well, I first want to just give like a sociological answer to that, because I feel like I've heard this term like self-segregate, and it's just a false term that is often used against AHANA communities. So if you've read the book, Why Are All the Black Kids Sitting Together, you should read it, because basically in that book, it says why that happens. And it's not because you don't want to connect with other people, but it's just because like with psychology, with the way you work, you're going to first connect with those you can relate to. So I'll say like that happens everywhere, because that's just kind of like how our society is structured. But there are a lot of ways to break out of that. And I feel like BC offers so many different resources and like groups that can attract everybody's interest. And through you going for your passion and your interest, instead of going for what your friend or what maybe all the Black kids are doing, like if you go to like your interest, you will then be able to see that diversity through different like clubs you join, etc.
Yeah, I think it's also up to you to diversify your friendships. For example, my freshman year, I met a bunch of guys on my dorm, and we decided to live together the following year. So my sophomore room, there was 8 of us. We had a guy from Bangladesh, one from Ireland, from Mexico, 3 from the US, and we had one more from Italy. So you know, we are there on campus, and it also kind of like our responsibility to diversify our friendship, talk to people, network. I met Tiff introduces me to Winnie, and then that's how you start growing, expanding. You meet people. And yeah, I would not say, at least based on my experience, that it was homogenous at all.
I also agree that it's like kind of up to you to like diversify your friend group. Like during freshman year, I got kind of pulled into a lot of the Asian culture clubs. Like I was involved in the Chinese organization, the Filipino one, the Taiwanese one. But then going into sophomore year, I knew that I personally wanted to branch out more. I joined First Generation Club, which I met a lot of people from like across the world with very different backgrounds than myself. I joined this year senior week committee, so I further diversified my friend group. So it really depends on like what you want to do. Like even the dance clubs that like are like supposed to be under one culture club, they're very mixed. Like the Latin dancing clubs have a lot of like Asians and white people in it. Like it isn't like strictly like, oh, because you are this one ethnicity that you have to join like this one club. Like even within the culture clubs that are like supposed to be focusing on like, for example, Vietnamese culture, there are other races that are curious about those cultures, so they choose to join too.
Yeah, I definitely would agree that you have to take a lot of responsibility to kind of diversify your friend group. I think one great way to do that would be to participate in like some of the retreats, whether that's Kairos, which is a religious retreat, or 48 Hours, which is a non-religious retreat. They pull people from like areas of BC that like you might not have connections with. So I met a lot of different people on my 48 Hours retreat freshman year. Also within different clubs, they'll usually have mentorship programs. So like in theater, I was paired up with multiple upperclassmen mentors. So you're able to meet different people through that. Also take time to talk to people in your classes, because you're going to be with people who you don't know in your classes, and people from all over campus will be in your classes, especially the core curriculum classes. So if you see somebody who you don't know, take some time to just talk to them, and who knows, maybe you'll end up becoming good friends or something like that. But I definitely do think that you would have to take the responsibility to make sure that happens.
And just to quickly add on to that too, usually freshman year, based on where you're living, well, all freshman dorms, like each RA will hold like a hoot session, like weekly, where you basically get to vibe and connect with people on your floor. And your RA will like host an activity. So that's another way to also quote unquote diversify your friend group if you choose to do that. But I also want to also give like clarity to when you say diversify, because I feel like oftentimes when we think diversify, we're looking more at like the black white binary, but there's just so many diversity within each race, like let alone in the Black community specifically at BC. There is so much diversity. Like with me being Nigerian, I have friends who are Haitian, who are Togolese, who are Ivory Coast, and like the list goes on. Like there's so many representation within the Black community alone, within ethnic diversity. So I just want you to explore that type of, like, it's not just the black and white binary when it comes to diversity. It's in each group.
All right, so we are heading to the tail end of this. I want to ask two more questions from this chat. This one just came in and I really like it as one of our last for our closing. What lessons did you learn from your experience at BC?
I think something that I learned, so freshman year, I had like so much fun. Like it was an amazing time. But sophomore year, my first semester, I did hit the sophomore slump or whatever, where I basically was battling depression. And I just realized at that time, like, everybody is really going through something. And I feel like oftentimes people put on a face where they try to hide like their pain or what they're going through. And I think a lesson that I learned is that there is power in sharing what you're going through, because that just makes the community stronger, and you're able to really just find help through that. So I'll say that's a lesson that I learned, like just really like talking to others and not trying to hide it, because a lot of people are probably in the same boat as you.
I think the biggest lesson for me is like realizing how different people are from myself. Some people may say that like BC is not that diverse, but to me it had so many people. I encountered so many different types of people that I never thought I would. Like I come from a very small white town, so everyone's middle class, everyone grew up in the same went through the same elementary, middle, and high school. Most people, it was like 99% white, just same like upbringing. So coming to BC and like having like people that are extremely rich and like not so fortunate, and just like so many different backgrounds, and made me realize how big this world really is. And that sounds cheesy, but it just made me very grateful that like I chose a place that was very diverse in thought and just different from what I had originally felt very comfortable in.
I think a lot of us can get caught up between what we want to study or our passions and what others want us to study, or what other people think are our passions. And I think at BC, you really have both the time and the opportunities to do both. As political science sophomore, I was like, I'm not sure if I want to do this. I was like a lot of things. I was like, but I love politics, and I talked to professors, and I decided to pursue that. And you can always minor in another school or area of study. We have a lot of clubs. You'll see a lot of people that are like, oh, I'm studying finance with a minor in philosophy. but I love music, and they are in a band. They are playing for the marching band at BC. They're in an a cappella group, and we just have so many opportunities and clubs to pursue different passions and like merge everything together. So when you walk in there, know that this is your time. These are your 4 years, and you're there to do what you want, what you like, and you can, in the end, just put it all together.
I definitely think one of the biggest lessons I've learned is that you're never done learning. Is that you should always seek to learn more and to do more. I kind of came into BC like complacent. I was like it'll be okay. Like I know what I'm doing. Like this is fine. I'm gonna like be pre-med and do theater and stuff like that. And I quickly realized that that was not for me. But if I didn't take the time to challenge myself, or I didn't sit in the uncomfortableness that those challenges, for like example, for being in pre-med brought me, I wouldn't have been able to grow. And I think become a better person. I'm into kind of like, as Jaime said, like I was able to really discern during that time what I want to do and what other people wanted me to do. So that was something that was really important to me. And I think that you'll experience in many ways throughout BC.
Great. Now to end it all, the final question is, what advice would you give AHANA students? It's our last question, so definitely take your time with it.
I would just say, enjoy yourself and be okay with being uncomfortable at times. Again, when you walk in there, you're being part of the minority, but you're not alone. It's uncomfortable at times. But again, the more, and I think I saw a question at some point, tips to like make friends, socialize, do it. It's easy, especially if you're coming from abroad or states like California and Texas where it's far. You might see a group of kids that they know each other because they went together to high school in Connecticut, Rhode Island, Massachusetts. And it can be a little intimidating, like, oh, I'm alone. I just came all the way here from California or Florida. Talk to people, leave your door open, socialize, join people for lunch, breakfast, talk to the guy or the girl next to you in class, and enjoy yourself. Again, I think socializing is a huge part of this transition and time at BC. And the more you take the time to step out of that comfort zone and talk to these people, the more you're going to start feeling comfortable, the more your friend circle is going to expand, and the more you're going to enjoy yourself. Just a quick anecdote, for example, these guys that I live with my sophomore year, they're my best friends. And there's this Mexican food place across the street from Boston College called El Pelon. And it's burritos, and they thought that was the best Mexican food they've ever had. They loved it, better than Chipotle. And I was like, guys, you've never had Mexican food. You have to come to Mexico City. So for spring break, I invited all of them back to Mexico City. We were there for the entire week. We went to the pyramids. We stayed at home. We had real Mexican food. And they were like, wow, this is awesome. And those are just some of the memories and opportunities you're going to have by meeting people. Something I never imagined, that I would walk into BC and that I would be taking 6 of my friends back to my home country to be in my house where I was born, where I was raised, and 6 of my friends were there from Boston College. So expect the unexpected and enjoy yourself.
I think my best advice would be, you are enough and you are never alone. Especially being at a predominantly white institution. I can often feel not very like at home in one place, but that's also because I'm mixed race, so that's something that I've always struggled with. But I've been able to find people here who either have the same situations as me or similar situations, or can just offer advice and support in that. And so I have really been able to feel more comfortable and come to terms with who I am and what that means for me and what that means for my experience. And also there will be times that like you may be one of the only like people of color in your class or at a meeting or something like that, but definitely remembering that the AHANA community and that like, or maybe the experience that you had at like AHANA Students Weekend or AHANA events or something, and knowing that that is always there is something that is really important. And then you are enough. There's going to be times people will challenge you, and it can be tough, but I just want you to know that you can do it. And like for me personally, like coming into college, like I was told not to apply to BC because I wasn't good enough to get in. And then here I am, I applied. So definitely don't let anybody but you decide where you think you'll fit in, because you know that best, and you can go wherever you want and you will thrive wherever you go.
I think for me, like my one advice is like, a lot of people see like being a HANA as a disability or something that will like a disadvantage, but I think we should focus on how to utilize it to our advantage. By being a HANA students, there are so many opportunities that are offered like just for us. Like BIC is an amazing office, and they're here just to support AHANA students, and they have programs such as like the tuition readmission that Tiff was talking about earlier for AHANA students. The culture clubs, a lot of people that are non-AHANA students like don't get to experience that same closeness with like upperclassmen. There's like huge family systems within the culture clubs that like we can take advantage of. There are scholarships offered just for AHANA students, whether that is like study abroad or like research opportunities or unpaid internships you can get money through, and like you can like use like your status as a HANA student to like help potentially get you places where like non-AHANA students like may not be able to get to. There's so many resources offered just for us, and to see that as like an advantage that will help us succeed is a better way than just like seeing it as something that will put us down.
My piece of advice is to be yourself. Please do not try to act like someone you are not. Like, just be your authentic self, because you will find your community in that way. Just some tangible advice: sit in the front of all of your classes. Like, I did that, and I feel like that really helped me. Like, sit in the front of all of your classes. Office hours are key. Like, connect with your professors. Like, I connected with one of my history professors, and at the end of the semester, she wanted to take me out to dinner. So like, really do that. Like, connect, key, network with every faculty member you meet. Try to go to every office like LTL, Montserrat, the BAIC, and just network and talk to people so you can really form those relationships. Even not, and when we say staff, also dining hall staff, like, you never know when they can help you, and I've definitely connected with them. Like, they're cool people. So like, dining hall staff, like, really every staff member at BC, connect with them.
Awesome. Well, thank you all so much. There are literally dozens of questions in this chat, along with questions that were asked even before when you registered. So believe me, we see these questions. We have 2 more panels, and they'll be much more pointed. I think the next one, forgive me if I'm wrong, is regarding academics. And then the last one is regarding community engagement. So certainly a lot of the questions that I see here about what that's like for a HANA student, these same questions I'll be sure to bring up in the next one. We just can't fit it all. Thank you guys so much for tuning in.
Congratulations, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.